Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. And this is our Friday night Smackdown review. And I gotta say, I would overall give this show a thumbs up. There were some things that I'm like, but I gotta say, everything they're doing with the main event scene, that being the bloodline and the people that are trying to oppose the bloodline, Edge and Seth Rollins especially, I think the character work from Seth Rollins has been very interesting. And even some stuff in the mid-card, I'm quite liking. So overall, I'd say I enjoyed the SmackDown. Partner, I know you gave me some thoughts, before it went live, but if you want to go a bit deeper, how'd you feel about the show tonight?
Yeah, I gotta be real, man. While there was some decent stuff on this show, I just couldn't bring myself to care about it. It's the Becky Bianca stuff. I feel like was probably some of the best stuff on the show, and even then, Becky annoyed the hell out of me tonight, which obviously she was probably supposed to because again, she is a heel. But the part that annoyed me wasn't even her promo, is the crowd's response to it. Um, The Naomi stuff is grating as fuck because I just want to see this woman get an opportunity to wrestle and they keep holding back, and it's starting to make me think that they are going to turn her heel, and I don't want that. Um, the main event I was looking forward to right up until the Usos attacked Finn, and then I was like, okay, well, I have no reason to care about this now because there's no chance Finn is winning, even if there might have been before, which there realistically probably wasn't the whole time, but, I feel like that was like the nail in the coffin. There was just a lot tonight that was like, oh, look, something I could get into. Oh, they're ruining it that quickly. Okay. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. I'm going to be really quick like I was with NXT. I'm going to say the only nitpick I really had with this show that comes to mind most immediately, they did two DQ finishes on this show. I'm not usually a fan of repeat finishes because Usos Street Profits ended in a DQ, and then as did Seth and Cesaro, their matchup.
Yep.
Now, to be a bit soft on it, both DQs kind of led to, more narrative. I don't want to say exposition because that's not quite the word. Narrative development. But even so, I think there are more creative ways to do that. And so, yeah, just the peckiest of nits. I'm not really a fan of repeat finishes like that. So I just wanted to point that out. Do you have any heats tonight, or just nitpicks, or just things you're like, you want to talk about?
Well, I will. I would actually call it a full blown heat of the night that Naomi was supposed to have a match tonight, and they straight up just said no, next week. Because like if we would be covering Raw, it would have been a heat of the night this week that they didn't have any of the fucking matches that they advertised for this week last week. Like to me, false advertising is heat of the night worthy. And they said Naomi next week, yeah, sure, and then she goes up to Sonya this week and she gets brushed off. That is a heat of the night for me, for sure. Because not only is it like lying to your audience, which is fucking despicable, no matter how much you can get away with it, but it also feels like they're giving Naomi reasons to turn heel. And I've seen heel Naomi before, and I don't want it again.
Okay, so I'm going to parse out the latter half of your objection with the first half, and I'm going to respond more forcefully to the first half, because the second half is more subjective, and I feel like it'd be needless to, because I am kind of looking forward to it, at least this iteration, if she does link up with the bloodline. If
right. And see, but I also feel like we've even had a discussion about how, like, you're not necessarily rooting for there to be a heel Naomi. You're just rooting for Naomi to be featured, and you feel like them turning her heel is the way to get that done.
Yeah, absolutely, because I feel like they really haven't given what her babyface run could have been, with the glow and the positivity and everything.
Right.
Especially in a time of COVID where we have not talked nearly enough about mental health and stuff like that, and maybe that'll start now with, unfortunately, the Daphne stuff. May she rest in peace. But I don't think they fully tapped into that, but that's another.
Whereas in my mind, I'm more like, just pull your fucking heads out of your asses and push her the way she is. She's perfect the way she is. She doesn't need to change.
And I do agree. I guess for me, it comes from both the spiritedness supporting her, but also pragmatics understanding where we are and just trying to mediate those two responses as best I can.
I guess I don't understand where we are as well.
Well, yeah, and that's fine. Dude, how can anyone in this product? But I do want to respond a bit more forcefully to the first half of your objection, which is why, again, I wanted to parse it out. Because to me, I get the spirit of what you're saying, and I enthusiastically co-sign. My thing is, I do believe there's a qualitative difference when, how can I put this? Because like with the Raw matches, right, that was relayed by commentary, which is normally like a neutral party. Like I get that you have a face role and a heel role, but when the face commentator that's supposed to be the intermediary between you and the live action is telling you what's coming, that to me is like outside of everything going on. It's more of a meta stance, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with SmackDown, when it's Sonya in character already being brazen to Naomi's appearance as is, being like, oh, well, we'll do you next week. That's not so much a promise to the audience as the character just being dismissive of Naomi, which she follows up this week. I think there's a qualitative difference there, personally.
You know what?
So
Even if that's true, I am just not a fan of Sonya as an authority figure at all. I think we've talked about this before. I don't think that the WWE, and I think it's kind of a lot of things. First of all, I don't think the WWE should go back to having a heel authority figure already. Second of all, even if you don't want to say, oh, she's not necessarily a heel, then my argument is, okay, they need to fucking pick an alignment for her and stick with it. Because I feel like she's back and forth between heel and face, or at least heel and neutral, and they can't seem to decide what she is. And in my mind, if she's going to be a heel, I have a problem with that. And if she's not going to be a heel, then fucking commit to her not being a heel. They can't seem to make up their mind. It's like they just can't help themselves but want to have a heel authority figure. So when they decide that it's convenient to have one, she's the one that they pick to have do that.
See, now I think that is a fair objection, and it's also again another qualitative difference that I would have to think more on, but I can understand.
It's
why.
funny though, because we started unpacking this heat of the night, and it's like we're tracing it all the way back to the top. Like we're literally working our way from, oh, I don't like that they lied to us, to, oh, this is fucking structural. It starts at the top.
Yeah, and really, I think
keep
this
pulling
is
on that thread, baby.
Though.
Keep pulling on that thread.
Keep pulling on that thread, and you know, like as much as I think so many of his opinions are antiquated, I almost have to have sympathy, I guess, for Cornette's view of, you know, why if you're gonna do an authority figure, which let me just be perfectly clear that I personally think that already is an antiquated concept. Maybe it's better that they are a babyface, because I think you get so much more mileage out of that. Because with the heels we've seen, the babyface never really gets the payoff. Yeah. Like, who's going to strike Sonya down? I mean, now, granted, there's more of a likelihood of that happening in my mind than, say, when it was Stephanie.
Right.
But at least when you have a babyface, you can have any heel, like, spit in their face or punch them or this and that, especially if they're a world champion. Because what are you going to do? Like get rid of your world champion? I mean, you should do that, but we know in the world of wrestling that's not going to happen. So if you're going to do authority figures, I almost have to wonder if it's just better to have them as baby faces so you can get so much more mileage out of that. Because are Sonya and Naomi going to have a match? Because if not, then I can totally see like the root of everything we're talking about here. Like, where's the payoff? Where is the rub for the babyface? The babyface in this situation being Naomi, where does she get her payoff? I think that's agreeable to us, right?
Well, and frankly, even if there would be a match between Sonya and Naomi, I would have a problem with that too, because Sonya already lost a loser leaves WWE match, and she shouldn't be wrestling anymore, period.
So, really, I think what we're getting at, to put it as succinctly as possible, to potentially move on if there's anything else you want to air out, this whole thing seems to be built on a house of cards, and no matter what angle you examine it from, it's bad. It's something that should have never been erected.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no angle that you can approach this from that makes me go, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Right. So, with that established, is there anything else you want to discuss?
I mean, yeah, kind of compounding on the Naomi thing, actually, I wanted women's wrestling tonight and didn't get any of it. We didn't get any Liv at all tonight. We didn't get any Zelina. No Shotzi, no Tegan, not even Toni Storm in the ring, even though we got a little bit teased from her as a character. We have a pretty stacked roster on SmackDown right now. Even if you'd want to include the likes of Carmella and the tag team champs who can bounce between shows, which I prefer to exclude them. But even if you want to include them, I would say the overall quality of the women's roster is pretty damn strong. And we didn't see a single match tonight between women at all.
You know, and it's so funny because we definitely got teases with women. You know, Liv was kind of side-eyeing Carmella with her, like, posing tonight. Obviously, we got the Naomi thing.
Yep.
Becky and Bianca did great mic work. The crowd didn't really show up as the third man, at least until Bianca came out, which I think is a testament to her ability to really rally the crowd back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, You're right. Not a single women's match on this show. That's actually a very nice observation. Oh, and a really, really bewildering use of Toni Storm tonight as well, which,
yeah.
God, that was so cringe. And honestly,
You know
not
what
even
though,
for the
dude? I'm
reasons...
telling you right now, they're using her now the way that Trish Stratus was used before she became a prominent in-ring figure on WWE television.
So if anything, if that's the parallel, if that's the standard, Toni Storm might actually be okay long term.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, hell, I've been
this is a horrible way to go about business, in my opinion, and frankly, it's fucking despicable. But if Vince McMahon tries pushing you as a sex object, he sees a lot in you.
Yeah, that's unfortunately true.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've really been hoping, and I've been seeing a lot of my timeline lately on Twitter. You guys can follow me at John_TWitWoW if you're not already. Of Liv winning the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble, which, God, that'd be like my fucking pop would be immense. But I almost have to wonder, based on that logic, which again, I think you're 100% right, if we should also be considering Toni Storm as a viable candidate.
I think it's something to keep in the back of our minds for sure. Because, this is like early signs that Vince is very high on her, and I think we all kind of expected that too.
Yeah, definitely.
If she ends up in some kind of an angle with guys betting each other, they're going to seduce her. That's how you know.
Yeah, there you go. Oh god. Funny thing was, those matches were always good too. I liked how Christian and Jericho worked together. Just the story was, oof. But anything else?
No, I don't have any other heats of the night. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get Alpha Academy tonight, but that's not heat of the night worthy, I don't think.
Yeah, I honestly, it's not heat of the night worthy, but I will say it's nitpickish, at least for me. Like, I don't understand how Street Profits can leapfrog Alpha Academy and just go right for the Usos when, like...
Yeah, that's a great point, too. Yeah. Man, it's been a brutal week for my favorites. Because, like, we had the Naomi thing, and, of course, there were no women wrestling on SmackDown. Then you go back to NXT, Hit Row weren't even on the fucking show. Like, God, WWE does not want me to like their product this week at all, do they?
Yeah, I suppose not. But let's get into our Friday night SmackDown review. And we open up, a recap of last week. And then, this week we open up with the Usos coming out. They cut a promo on the Street Profits. I love the new catchphrase for heel Usos, "We're the ones." I like that. I like that they dropped Uso Penitentiary. Not that I didn't like Uso Penitentiary, but I felt like it was getting too much of a pop. And if you're working heel, I think you should have a catchphrase that's more arrogant, doesn't get the crowd as amped up, and I think it fits nice.
Kind of like Tennille's, "It's all about me."
Yeah, unless you're a douchebag like me and you really revel in such narcissism and you're like, you know what? I relate to that. And then you get side-eyed by the person in the audience and it's just like, you shouldn't. You know that, right?
And you're like, yes, but I do anyway.
Exactly.
Also, don't tell me what to do.
There you go. Just check it off my bingo card. They're saying, Street Profits want to make a name for themselves. That's why they stuck their nose in family business. And they more or less told the Street Profits to come get some. Street Profits come out. And, man, I got to say, because we know, and I'm not saying this in the, oh, God, I want, the blood and the broad paint, but like everybody's always talking about how compared to prior eras, this product's more sensitized in certain ways. And that they're not going to, swear. At least they're not that high up on the card to get away with it, I don't think. But I like how the Street Profits can do a diss that's family friendly, because I actually did genuinely like the line of, did Roman Reigns sign your permission slips? I thought that was clever. I thought that was good. And I think it shows their talent that they don't have to call them bitches or even whipped or stuff like that. And,
telling you, man, Street Profits want to follow in the footsteps of the New Day and have a rap battle with the Usos on SmackDown.
Yeah, I'd be all for that. So after that promo exchange, we get the matchup. I already kind of touched on this. It does end in a DQ because Jey Uso, main event Jey Uso forever. I don't care if he's opening the fucking show. He takes care of business. He sends he sends Ford into the ring post twice. Then Dawkins tries coming in. And I feel like the Usos got the leg up initially because they take Dawkins out and they send him into the steel steps. But then Ford does a dive over the ropes. And you know what I was thinking when I was watching this unfold? because my mind immediately went to, ooh, Extreme Rules, let's do a ladder match. But you know what? It's always a fucking ladder match. You know what I want between these guys? I want a tornado tag false count anywhere match. Fucking do it. Have all four of these guys go all
That would
over
be
the
fun.
arena and just
That would be
fight
a lot
each
of
other.
fun.
Yeah, it'd be
I mean, it is
man.
Extreme Rules, so you never know. That might just happen. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a little lazier though and just went with like a ladder match.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, it would be great, and I think it'd be
Yeah,
inspired,
for
and
sure.
I could just imagine Ford's frog splash off the ladder. But I'm watching all this chaos, and I'm like, you know what? Why? Why boil it down to a single object of a ladder? Even TLC, which I think would be, again, insane. I'm just like, it would just be a little different to be like, you know what? Tornado tag, false count anywhere match. Fucking go at it. And yeah, like, I think those four guys could really do something special with a unique stip like that. So just a random thought that I had that I wanted to share with you guys. So after the Profits stand tall and they're literally standing on the announce table and being like, we want this, and they're fired up. Funny how you didn't have that energy when Otis was staring you down. Just kind of putting that out there. Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are watching backstage, and Roman's like, "Wise man, yes, my tribal chief, bring me my cousins." And then we get, quite honestly, because I am a child, my favorite moment of the whole show. Paul Heyman's going out. Kayla Braxton, his favorite co-host, confronts him. She tries talking to him about everything happening. And Heyman, he starts to get the snark with Kayla, as he always does, and his phone goes off, and it's Brock Lesnar's theme song, and bro, Heyman is trying to bring two people to the same dance. He is trying to double dip, and I am anxious aardvark. First he tries shutting the phone off, then he tries resuming again, and then it calls again, and he's like, yeah, hello? No, of course I'm happy to hear. I could pass on that message, but it's not the best time. Like he literally had the energy of, hello? Come see me right now. I can't. I'm with my family. Just do it. And it's like, damn. Paul is in deep. And Kayla even said, Paul, you're right. I really am enjoying the moment. And Paul, just fed up with her shit, looks at the nearby sanitation guy, and he's like, if you're taking out the trash, start with her. And it was Biggie the whole time, emanating all that creeper energy of the giggling and the laughing and holding up the briefcase. This, honestly, was my favorite segment of the whole show because, one, Paul is trying to two-time. There is nothing he loves more than power. And he's looking at these two guys, and he's like, if I can just fit the square peg in the round hole, I'll become God. And that's not a euphemism, surprisingly, given the context of what we're talking about here. But he's trying to manage both these guys. He's a worm, he's a weasel. That's the Paul Heyman character. And, his loyalties are going to be tested. And I'm just going to, not to jump too far, but there's a segment later, where Roman's like, we got to stick to the game plan, guys, teasing something with the Usos. And so I guess we should have seen what happened to Balor later in the show coming.
Yep.
And then Paul comes in, and they have a little talk, but the thing is, like, I guess Fox is very popular in Saskatchewan. And I love Roman's delivery on this because, again, like the jilted lover, how'd you know he was in Saskatchewan? What? I don't know that. Maybe he's in Minnesota. How would you know he's in Minnesota? How do you know he's not here? Like, I love it. It's childish, it's cheese, but I'm me, and like it just checks every box. I don't know who Heyman's gonna choose. I mean, obviously, logically, I think Roman would make the most sense, especially because Brock is a part-timer, and I'm just loving the stuff that he's doing with Roman. But just the phone and the theme and everything, just perfect. And then Biggie, of course, was the cherry on top. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, I just love it. I think it's funny. Heyman, man, you are in way over your head.
Telling you, taking two dates to the same dance never works. Paul needs to learn. It's not gonna
If
work.
I'm Paul Heyman, I mean, Javaris kind of said something along these lines in the chat. If I'm Paul, I am literally taking my phone's battery or SIM card out of it before I enter a room with Roman.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. 100%. So
like that phone doesn't belong to you, but that phone's battery better sure as hell stay on your person at all times.
Exactly. So because I talked a lot about this, I want to give you what you even said was one of your favorite parts of the show. Becky Lynch comes out.
Again, though, it's like it's kind of a double-sided sword because Becky comes out and she starts cutting a promo about, she comes back and beats Bianca, and she, it was she saved the match, and Sasha was the one that missed it, and she ended up saving the match, and she ends up winning, and now she's being painted as the bad guy, and the crowd booed that, and like she was getting cheered, and I hated it. And then Bianca comes out and gets the crowd back behind her, but like, how long is this going to happen? How long are we going to go with Becky cutting kind of tweener-ish promos with the crowd being fully behind her, and then Bianca has to come out and save face? I don't want that. I want Becky to just be a good fucking heel. Get that heat before you say no to the challenge, so that when Bianca comes out, it's a big pop rather than like an, oh shit, it's about to go down, because that's going to happen regardless. We want a pop, though. We want people to be like, oh my God, shut Becky up. She's being obnoxious. She needs to stop. She's such a heel. I hate her. Can't wait to see her get her ass beat. And Becky just refuses to do it. It's like she's reached that like too big to be a heel point in her own mind or in the mind of the writers or whatever.
It's weird because the crowd definitely got like what the fuck energy out of me. I mean, quite literally in the Discord, you could see it. I don't want to put this all on Becky because I know she even had like the throwaway comment kind of just in the crowd like, oh, I didn't get you deserve a chance. But see, the problem.
But then they immediately did it anyway.
Yeah, that crowd did. And if I was Becky, and see where I could be more sympathetic to your view, like Becky needs to be, I think, more assertive, more aggressive in this heel role, is I would have shut that down. I would have been like, oh, no, it's too late now. Like, to Rock's credit, he used to do that. He used to do that when the crowd would, like, say his phrase or whatever. He never forgot that they booed him at WrestleMania 18. And he's like, oh, no, you blew it. You don't get to do this with The Rock. You don't get to do The Rock's catchphrases with The Rock. And he'd actually stop his promo just to, like, not like in a Charlotte way, but in a character way of, yeah, you don't get to do this with me. This is my thing. You made your bed. Now you're going to lie in it. And he made him feel like shit for it. Becky, I think, could have taken a similar route.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, you don't get to say I deserve it. You don't get to do this. You don't get to pop in my catchphrase. No, that's mine. I'm the star here. You're the tag along. So maybe she does need to double down on that. Because I think because this is so new for Becky, only because it went over so horrendously last time because they thought Charlotte would make a compelling babyface. Imagine. She might still be trying to find her footing, but I was so happy when Bianca got the crowd back.
Yeah.
Because I was really worried.
It's just frustrating, though, because, like, you bring up, because they thought Charlotte would be a good face. But, like, that's not even what the problem was with that turn. The problem with that turn was Becky had been getting shunted and, like, overlooked and underbooked since, like, I think since, like, April or May of that year. To the point that, people were making a point of it. And it was, like, finally she gets a shot and she loses. And then she just finally fucking explodes and takes it out on Charlotte and decides to, rather than sit around and wait to be given nothing, to actually take things into her own hands and go after the person that's been giving her all these problems. The person that, we talked about while Becky's trying to climb Everest from the bottom, Charlotte gets helicoptered into the top of it and thinks, oh, she accomplished climbing Mount Everest, even though she clearly didn't. Like, we've talked about that so many times, and we were talking about that a lot more back then. And that's why people refused to boo Becky, because they saw all that go down. They saw, like, oh, this woman is putting in the work constantly, and then Charlotte comes in and just gets handed shit. And it's like, why the hell would we boo the one that we've been with the whole time, that we've been cheering for, rooting for, trying to get behind, trying to get pushed, and now she finally gets pushed and they expect us to boo her? That's not going to happen. Whereas in this instance, it's literally the exact opposite. Becky comes back after over a year away. Now, I'm not trying to question the validity of the reason she was off. Obviously, she had a kid in, I think, December. So I'm not trying to say, like, oh, you left us. Because, no, she went to take care of her family. She went to start a family. And that's perfectly understandable and a valid reason to leave. But my point is, Bianca's been here. Bianca's been here the whole damn time. And the way, specifically the way that Becky beat Bianca was bullshit. I'm telling you, dude, they are botching this so fucking bad. It would have been so easy to get Becky heat by having her reveal that she used a loaded wrist pad at SummerSlam. They don't do that. And then not only that, but now they're having her cut these like halfway in between, like, oh, it's not my fault that I won. How am I being painted as the bad guy here? And people are like, you know what? She's kind of got a point. The WWE is like trying their best to bungle this. It's pissing me off.
I can understand that, man. I can absolutely understand that. And I think it's concerning to me. It's concerning to me how quickly the crowd seemed to turn on Bianca, at least when Becky had the mic.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, because in my mind, and again, we're only two guys. It's not like we have access to all the data or a strong enough sample size or what the hell ever. But it made me feel like, did I overestimate Bianca's fanfare? Because I'm thinking, like, she's really over. And yet, even though it is Becky, and I understand Becky was, transcendent. Like, she got mentioned on ESPN.
Yeah.
She had mainstream appeal. She was that kind of face.
That's my big thing. Is like, even if Bianca was like superstar, rock star over, Becky, like you just said, was transcendent. So like they brought back the one person that would get rooted for over Bianca and expected Bianca to overcome it.
Yeah.
Like, no, she's not going to overcome that by herself. You have to write it for them. You have to write Becky as the heel. You have to write Bianca in a way that makes people realize and know and understand that she is the good guy here. You can't just let them go out there and be themselves, because if you do that, Becky will get cheered over Bianca 85% of the time. The other 15% is like tonight, when Bianca's on the mic and Becky actually keeps her mouth shut and Bianca cuts a really good, inspiring promo.
Yeah, and she does. She talks about how she's not going to complain. She showed she was the strongest when she beat 3 women last week. She's the fastest, as in the fastest rising star in the company. And she is the toughest because she will bounce back from this and she will regain her Smackdown Women's Championship.
This Bianca promo is like right on the precipice of promo of the year for me.
Yeah, and I would say personally, definitely one of the best promos of the year. And in Bianca's career personally, I think this is the best promo she's ever cut. Like, I think she had a confidence here, a sincerity here. The use of the EST didn't feel contrived. It felt very like it came from a very authentic place. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is the best mic work personally that she's ever cut in her career. I would definitely. I
think so too. Yeah, I agree with you on that for sure. I love the way that she worked the EST, not into just listing all the things that she's the EST at, but listing why. I'm the strongest because of this. I'm the fastest because of this. Like that to me is like, and then I'm the toughest because like I love that. That's next level shit to me that she's never pulled out before, at least that I can remember. And I was very impressed by that. I loved that, and apparently the crowd did too because they fully bought into it and they were cheering her.
Absolutely. She once again tries to get a match with Becky, saying, Roman's putting his title on the line tonight. Why aren't you? And Becky says, I don't really give a damn what Roman does. No, slams the mic and she leaves. So Becky, again, ducking that challenge. But we learned in a later segment that there will be a contract signing next week in Madison Square Garden for their match at Extreme Rules. I am wondering if a stip's going to be added to that. It would be a bit weird to me for a pay-per-view literally called Extreme Rules to just be a standard wrestling match. But if there is a stip, we might see the return of Sasha Banks at that point. We'll have to see, because I really don't think the Bianca-Sasha story is done. They didn't even have their second match yet. That was supposed to be for SummerSlam, and then obviously that's how we got here. So, beyond that, we get the Ziggler and Toni Storm backstage segment. I already kind of touched on this. I mean, yeah, it was weird. Everybody in the live wrestling discussion Discord, I mean, mainly you, and then everybody kind of responded to that, mentioned the age differences being 41, Tony being 25. For me, that didn't even register. Honestly, it was just Ziggler's such a fucking tryhard. Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, obviously the age, it's weird.
I mean, we pointed out how weird it was that 31-year-old Buddy Murphy was hitting on like 19-year-old Aaliyah, and this age difference is even more significant than that.
Yeah. But like even beyond that, to me, because I didn't even think about that like most immediately until you brought it up. For me, it was just, oh my god, this fucking poser. Like if I'm Tony, I don't even know how words came out of her mouth because I would just be laughing at him the whole fucking time. Like, how do you not laugh at this dude? And in fact, not to be an asshole, but how do you not take it to the next level of cruelty and point and laugh at him? So you let them know without a shadow of a doubt. No, it's for you. Yeah. It's for you. Nothing else but you. He's pathetic. So I'm going to keep it there because I'm trying to not turn up as much here. And then we get Boogs versus Ziggler. How'd you feel about our man Boogs tonight, bro? I thought
dude, lifted Ziggler up over his head. That was impressive as all hell. I will say, I think he might be a little bit afraid to take bumps or something because again, like how many times have we seen that? I think I pointed it out. There were 2 suplexes in that first tag match where it was him and Nakamura against Apollo and Aziz, where he didn't take the bump on the suplex. He just threw the guy. I think it was against Apollo actually. Um, and now tonight he doesn't actually go down with the power slam. He just drops Ziggler. I don't like that. Like, do your moves completely. Don't do them half-assed like that.
Right. He's got such a great look and everything, too. We need to know that he can bump and really just do the whole damn thing as a pro wrestler, and then we can really strap the rocket to him and get him on that Cameron Grimes shit to the moon.
It almost makes me wonder if he has, like, bad joints or something, like bad knees or a bad back or something like that, and that's why he doesn't want to do it.
Maybe. Oh, God. I hope not, though, man, because that doesn't spell very well for, like, his longevity or his staying power.
We'll see.
Especially in those spots that we'd like to see him in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was, he wins with the power slam again. I do like that they're building on him. He's got a little bit of a streak going. I just wonder what they're going to dovetail that into, but that remains to be seen. We get Becky, Adam, and Tony backstage. That's for the whole contract signing thing. Then we get the Seth Rollins interview. I just completely, sincerely, I love the character. I love how the character has kind of responded to this loss to Edge, saying, you know, like, he's become a bit of an inspiration for me. I went back and I watched that match. Hell, I've seen every match of your career. And obviously he has that little pause and that trailing off when he thinks about the fact that Edge did beat him at SummerSlam. But he seems disturbingly upbeat. And he says, tonight I renew the rivalry with Cesaro. And
I didn't like this. I really wasn't a fan of any of this. I'm like, first of all, can Seth Edge please be over? And second of all, I thought that Seth Cesaro already was over, but they brought it back. And this was the moment of the night that made me really feel like, man, the draft cannot get here soon enough because we really need to get things shaken up.
So I think if we could, no, that's not necessarily. Well, yeah, actually, no, there's a better one. I was originally going to say stasis, but I guess what really irked you about the show was repetitiveness in a word. You just felt like they're retreading ground that was already tread sufficiently.
It feels very, exactly. It's a very repetitive show. You know, it's lots of rematches, it felt like. And obviously, Seth Cesaro isn't a rematch from, like, super recently, but we got it enough this summer.
Yeah. Now, I will say, getting right into that match, Cesaro versus Seth, beyond the DQ finish, which, again, I was actually more forgiving of this than Uso Street Profits, just because, again, like, it fed a greater narrative to me. There's something about Cesaro and Seth on TV that I just think is better than pay-per-view, save for their Mania match, which I thought was obviously really good. I don't know if it's because they don't get as much time on TV, so you have that sense of urgency, so you're like, okay, let's do all the best shit and make it look really good. But they clicked here. I can understand why you, and I'm sure others, felt like, man, again, especially if you are a Cesaro fan, because you can't be thinking like he's going to get the win here, even though for all intents and purposes he did. It was just by DQ. And you just want to see them do something else. But I do like the little story beats that we got. You know, Seth Rollins doing Edge-O-Matic. He did the execution, the Impaler DDT before that. So he's kind of peppering in, like, Edge maneuvers. I would have freaked, and here's what I was hoping for beyond the DQ finish. I was hoping that Seth was going to beat Cesaro with a spear. And I don't like Cesaro losing matches, but if he's going to, I can forgive it if it has a little bit of a narrative hook to it. So he does those 2 moves, and then he does the move of Edge, the freaking spear, for the 3 count. Now, I don't know, maybe Seth's spears look like shit, and that's why they didn't do it. But Seth uses a chair on Cesaro to get the DQ. Then he does the Glasgow Grin, which is what Edge calls using the leg of the chair in that submission. Thinking about doing a concerto, that's when Edge runs out. And so Seth kind of flees. I like this from a character perspective. And again, I can be sympathetic to. I thought the feud was over. It's a retread. I will say, though, and maybe it's just because, again, I've taken a shine to Seth, I like this idea that he's kind of psychically fractured to the point of, to beat you, I have to become you. And, like, I think it's taken on a very warped context of the word inspiration, because he said, like, Edge has become an inspiration for me. So what he's saying is I'm going to become you since we're already so similar, and then I'll be able to beat you.
Well, I think it's more along the lines of, like, Edge was talking about, I got to go to that dark place in order to beat Seth. Well, now Seth says, oh, okay, well, that's how you beat me. So now I got to find that dark place in order to beat you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And you can definitely see that. Edge later backstage, because in between that we get the bloodline going over the game plan. Happy Corbin arriving in the arena.
Oh
And
God, Happy Corbin, Jesus Christ.
It's still a guilty pleasure if I'm honest.
You should feel guilty for liking that.
You know what? I'll apologize never.
I know.
And then after that, we get Edge backstage, more or less saying, Seth, this has got to end. The pads are going on. It doesn't end well. So how about you and me next week, Madison Square Garden? So I'm open to it. I think, again, though, you already know Seth's probably going to win this one, and then the climax is going to be at Extreme Rules. That's just how I'm telegraphing it straight away. We'll see. After that, though, we get the KO show with Happy Corbin. Normally, I would field this stuff to you, but I feel like nothing really of note happened here. I do have one question for you, though. So I'm going to set the table, then I'm going to field the question to you. KO is pretty much talking about, Corbin. Corbin actually thanks KO. He says, everything you did to me, which, he's probably thinking, for me. That got me here because, you beating me and me not being able to bag fans. I stole Big E's Money in the Bank briefcase, which led me to Vegas, which led me here. And ultimately, it comes out, Logan Paul is back. He's really become a fixture with WWE, and that kind of ties into my question. Him and KO essentially have words. Logan mockingly offers KO $100 because, judging by the looks of you, you need it more than me. Kevin laughs. He says, I don't need your money, but I need you to turn around, get out of my ring, and never show your face here again. Logan Paul shoves Kevin. Kevin shoves Logan Paul back. They look like they're about to get into it. Corbin, though, intercepts, gets KO with a forearm and lays him out with a choke slam. They kind of laugh at him like, oh, look at us. We're so amazing and rich. So here's the question to me coming out of this segment. And you always give it to me straight, whether I'm on my bullshit or if it's plausible. You think they could be setting up KO versus Logan Paul for Mania next year?
Honestly, if you would have just stopped at, do you think they're setting up Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul? The answer is yes. Now, do I think they're going to actually have the patience to hold off all the way until WrestleMania next year for that? Extreme doubt.
Here's why I say
I wouldn't be surprised if they were setting it up for Survivor Series. Because we already heard reports Survivor Series is going to be bigger than SummerSlam this year. Maybe that's a way that they see it as being bigger.
And that's fair. I just think WrestleMania, since that's when Logan Paul got stunned at WrestleMania, this year, they kind of bring it full circle for the match next year. And it's the whole celebrity match that I feel like they have to have a celebrity involvement that they like to have at every Mania. That's the only reason I thought about it.
Maybe there will be a Logan Paul match at WrestleMania, but I doubt it'll be his first.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
My whole thing is I really don't think the WWE gives a fuck about the sentimental value of having things happen 1 year after the first thing that happened.
Right.
So I don't think that they're going to be like, oh, we had Logan Paul get stunned at this WrestleMania, so how great of a story would it be if exactly 1 year later at the next WrestleMania he wrestles his first match? No. They're just going to be like, we can get a Logan Paul match, we're going to fit it around his schedule, and if that just so happens to work at Survivor Series, we're fucking doing it. Hell, if that happens in Saudi Arabia, I wouldn't even be surprised.
See, that I would put under extreme doubt. Another reason why I say Mania 2, if I'm honest, just to give a little bit of pushback, although I think all of your points are salient. Logan Paul isn't just a person. The dude's a fucking brand unto himself. And he's always going to want to maximize the value of that brand. So he's probably thinking, oh, no, I want to do, WrestleMania with Kevin Owens. And KO, he really is a dutiful employee. I can't imagine the guy being one of those guys that says no. So I also think
wasn't Kevin one of the people that refused to go to Saudi Arabia the last time they went there?
He might have been. But you know what, though? I feel like the Logan Paul thing is a different context because at Saudi Arabia, at least, you can cite, ideological differences or whatever. Right. With Logan Paul, it's more okay, well, are you being a deal?
Well, and to be fair, we've already seen KO work with Logan already. The stunner is... Yeah. It's not nothing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I just wanted to put it out there to make it TWitWoW canon that I did broach the subject potentially of Logan Paul versus KO.
I do think that I think Logan Paul versus KO is definitely being teased and maybe even built towards. My question is whether the WWE is patient enough to wait the 7 months that they would have to wait in order to make it happen at WrestleMania.
You'd be surprised, man, because, like, here's the thing. Given that it's a celebrity match, it's not like the build needs to be constant. You can
Right.
do the little pepper teases like
Have
they've
them
done.
come in every few months and just kind of refresh people's minds that they exist.
Exactly. And I think if you keep to that model, 7 months is nothing. I think they can sprint that shit. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for fielding my question, because, you know, it was just something I thought about. After that, we get the Carmella and Liv thing, with Carmella posing and Liv just being like, is she for real? Is this happening? Then we get the person that brings light to my life, Sami Zayn.
Oh.
Who
I was about to be like, wait, Kairi Sane was on the show?
Oh God, I know it gets repetitive, people, and I know that's kind of the theme of the show, but I miss her so much. She really took a piece of me with her, and
me too. Did you
hurts.
see WWE Japan actually foreclosed a few days ago? Not foreclosed, but like came to an end.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
It shut down, yeah.
So, like, what does that mean for her? Cause she's
probably nothing, because I think she's still an ambassador to the company, and she's going to keep on doing Japanese commentary for them.
Oh, well, I mean, did you see her in her professional getup? It's pretty adorable.
Yeah, I've seen, yeah. Yep, I sure did.
It just makes me happy. I'm sorry, guys. This isn't about Kairi, for once.
I mean, it can be, if you want it to be. I'd rather talk about her than SmackDown tonight.
She's so wonderful and deserves the best things. But no, we got Sami Zayn, and going back to repetitiveness, against Dominic again. I got to be honest with y'all. The match was fine, I guess, you know, whatever. Ray, when Sami wants to take a walk, because Dominic got a little bit of offense, Ray stops Sami from taking a walk. Dominic dives on him over the referee. You know, a nice visual. Got to give him credit. Gets Sami back in the ring. And then when he's telling Ray, Dad, I got this. And Michael Cole even tells us, Dominic says he's got this. I think, who was it? Oh, it was fucking Foster, because of course it was, because he's amazing. He recaps the conversation. I guess he was watching this show with his dad. Cole, Dom says he's got this. And then Foster's dad, you mean he got this in the face? Because he ate a haluva kick as soon as he came in the ring. And on God. And it's so weird, because we're not even on a call together, because, you know, I'm like focused on the Discord and the show, and we meet up after the show. I audibly said, like I out loud said, fucking loser, when the kick hit him in the face for the 3 count. It was like, Jesus Christ, dude, put it together. It's called winning a match. Can you do it? I'm starting to have doubts.
Don't ask that. We've seen him do it. I don't want it to start happening again.
Yeah. So yeah, Sami Zayn deserves better. I low-key want him to turn babyface, because I want this liberator gimmick to have a babyface bet of, I'm going to liberate everybody from the Tribal Chief's title reign. And I want him and Roman to work a program together, because what Finn and Bryan and a lot of people in Roman's reign has taught me is that he works well with, like, those smaller, like, indie guys. And he's apparently even vouched for Sami Zayn, saying we need more Sami on SmackDown, which is why he's my Tribal Chief in the first place. Yeah, I'm ready for a Sami face turn, honestly. And I want him and Roman to have a program. Will it happen? Of course not. There's a better chance of me, you know, actually winning a Nobel Prize or some shit. But a man can dream.
I believe in you, though. You could actually do that.
I believe in your face, too, friend. You know what I don't believe in? This product to, like, shake things up, even though they claim to have a draft to do that. And how quickly does it take for it to really settle into that monotony and repetitiveness? Sonya and Naomi backstage, already touched on that. Finn Balor interview backstage. I just wanted to say this real quick, because this isn't a segment that can, you know, you should have a whole essay on. I think Finn's kind of underrated as a talker. I just wanted to say that. Like, I feel like NXT really opened our eyes to how good of a talker he can be. Yeah. And you know what I like about this guy too? He doesn't need a whole segment to be good, because I even liked what he said here. He kept it real brief, because the question was general. How do you feel about this Universal Championship match tonight against Roman Reigns? And he's like, you know, so many people have asked me, what would have happened if you didn't get injured in 2016? Tonight, I give them their answers. Like, perfect. It is perfect, amazing.
But then he got attacked before the match and completely nullified the answer.
First of all, you're not wrong. Second of all, Foster, no, he does not. It still boggles my mind that a man in his fucking 40s, I mean, if him and John Morrison are not friends, maybe we should be thankful for that.
Bro,
I don't know if the universe could survive it.
Despite the fact that Finn is quote-unquote in his 40s, he's still younger than Dolph Ziggler. That's what really matters here.
And look at Dolph, dude. Like, oh,
I feel
oh.
like as extreme as we can go here with Dolph looking old and Finn looking young, there will never be a starker comparison than Finn to fucking Ciampa.
Yeah, I mean, not to be an asshole about appearances, because let's be honest, we should all be better than that. For these next 5 seconds, though, I won't be. It's like comparing a Greek statue to cottage cheese. So way to go, Finn, for being the best of us.
Yeah, Ciampa at 36 looks like he's about 18 years older than Finn at 40.
Yeah, dude. Donate that body to science, fam. God, what else do you want me to say?
I'll study it. I know you will.
Giggity. He comes out.
Oh my god, you would.
He comes out. He gets jumped by the Usos. To your point. But I'll tell you what, though, him and Roman still have a fucking great match. Like, these two have great chemistry. And I love, too, that the Roman character, he sicks the Usos on Finn, because you know he didn't forget about Finn beating him in Finn's Raw debut back in 2016. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't forget that shit. Like,
this guy thinks he's better than me just because he is?
Dude, that was the best impersonation of me you've ever done, and it wasn't even about me. What the fuck?
That was fully a Roman impression. Where are you coming up with this?
Because I'm deeply insecure on the inside.
Oh
but,
my god. Well, at least you're not deeply insecure on the outside. That would be the real concern.
I mean, I am handsome. But
oh my god.
I know at the very least Foster's going to be like, well, he's not wrong. But the coup de grace spot and the legal low blow, I just, that sequence was great. Guillotine was great. I like that Finn passed out instead of tapped out, because he already tapped out pretty quickly the last time he was in that guillotine. So way to kind of toughen him up.
Can I just say, I still want a rematch between these two at Extreme Rules.
And dude, you might get it, because I noticed you didn't react in the beginning. You heard the heartbeat at the end, right?
No.
As Roman and Paul were leaving, the arena, real quick, for a split second, went red, and a heartbeat, signifying potentially the demon.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm here for it. 100%, yes.
See, I thought so, because it was so weird to me that in your preamble, like, we both kind of talked about our initial sentiments at the start of the show. You made no mention of that. And to be fair, I didn't either, because I was like, oh, well, he doesn't know.
I missed it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we caught it in the Discord, and again, guys, for any new listeners potentially that might be shy to comment, I doubt it. But if you go back and you listen to this, join the TWitWoW Discord, $3 a month. Live wrestling discussion channel has become the best part of my Smackdown viewing experience. Shout out to Foster and Javaris, you guys are some real ones. I know Mark got in as well at some time, so you guys are all fucking great. I love you all. But yeah, we all kind of talked about it, and I thought I heard it. And Roman just kind of shrugged it off. Like, they took notice of it. They acknowledged it, if you will. But then he's just like, whatever. And they keep walking. But no. And that's why I was forgiving of the assault. Because, one, they went out of their way to protect Balor. Two, they even protected the finish. Because, yeah, Roman kicked out of the coup de grace. But, one, you have to wonder if Finn could have covered even a little bit faster if it wasn't for the beatdown. And, two, he fucking low-blowed him out of the kick out. And then you do the whole fucking demon thing. And if Roman but see, here's the one problem. Here is the one problem I have. If a Roman Reigns versus not 100% Finn Balor was still this competitive, where Finn practically was this close to beating Roman, the demon should beat Roman.
Yes.
That's the only problem I have, is that if regular Finn, that's reduced in power level, can still be this competitive with Roman, the demon should beat Roman, and I don't think that's going to happen, and that's my only misgiving about all of this.
See, my big thing is, like, while you are probably right to some degree, there are ways to have the demon not beat Roman without having Roman beat the demon. You know what I mean?
Like, how do you, like, just give me an example, because especially if it is like a step match where there are like no DQs or anything, how do you work around that?
Well, if there are, I never said anything about it being no DQ. I was thinking about a DQ or a count out, but like.
But if it happens at Extreme Rules, though, like, I can't imagine. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it is an Extreme Rules match, then obviously you get the full power of the bloodline working to stop the demon.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's just, Man, I don't know, man. I'm going to be really curious how they navigate this. I'll put it to you that way. Because I do think you're right. I do think there's a way to maybe protect the Demon that doesn't come at the expense of Roman's title reign or at the Demon's mystique. That I think because it hasn't been used in so fucking long, absence was key. Because now that it's back, it's like, holy fucking shit. But we'll have to see. Because somebody even pointed out, now the Roman title reign, I think it's already been interesting. I've had a shit ton of fun with it. But, dude, think about it. You got Brock Lesnar. You got Big E with the briefcase. You've got, like, Edge, if he can resolve this feud with Seth Rollins, you know he's going to want another crack. And now you've got the fucking Demon breathing down your neck. That is a lot for Roman to deal with.
Yes, it
so,
is.
Yes. Yeah.
I will ask, though, John, I know that we both probably agree that it's not super likely, but what if the Demon does just win? What if he just wins?
You know how I think they'd play it, dude? And I think that's doing Balor so dirty, but I could see it. The Demon wins. Finn defends as Finn against Roman, and that's how Roman gets the title back. Because he beats Balor for the title, not
okay,
the
but
Demon.
What if they just want Finn to have a decent title run?
I'm not adequately prepared to answer that question because I honestly don't know. Like,
yeah.
I
guess my
it,
main thought
really
here is like, what if the WWE is just okay with having Brock versus Lesnar in Saudi Arabia and not have a championship involved?
That's possible. I mean, let me ask you this though, dude. I'll throw your question back to you, okay? Because here's my follow-up. Say they do Roman and Lesnar in Saudi Arabia. I'm going to personally assume that Roman goes over. I don't want to answer for you though when I give you the ball back. If they take the title off Roman, do you think it would be prudent then to just shake him up to Raw? And then kind of refresh his feuds there.
I could see that. I could see that, yeah. I could see that. It's funny, though, because, like, I've got all these plans in my mind for Roman being Universal Champion, and then Finn could just completely derail that, and I wouldn't even be angry about it.
I wouldn't either. Finn, it's funny that Finn didn't even make my Fave 5, because when I think about it, he probably should have. Finn is really good. I really enjoy him on my TV. I will say, it's so funny that we're even having this conversation because in the middle of the Finn Reigns matchup, I was even saying to myself, Roman isn't going to get me to believe that anybody can beat him. He's holding that until at least Mania next year.
Right.
Like, I see him taking a deep seat with that title. However, if he does lose it, maybe a shake-up to Raw would be interesting. But see, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. If he gets shaken up to Raw, I guarantee you the Raw main event at Mania is either, and I'm not even going to say Keith Lee, although I would love for them to run that back given Roman and Keith's interaction at Survivor Series. What was it, 2 years ago? But, you know, I would think Roman Drew for the WWE title to run back Survivor Series last year and how that all went.
Yep. What if they would do Roman Lashley, though?
Somebody would have to wear baby in that, and I don't know. I obviously Lashley would, I guess.
I was even thinking, like that was kind of what I was saying earlier when I was like, oh, I have these plans for Roman after, like as Universal Champion, and Finn could derail that because, like in my mind, Drew is going to SmackDown, and Drew is going to be a huge opponent for Roman, and maybe even his WrestleMania opponent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I keep hearing rumors about they want to get Rock to be Roman's WrestleMania opponent, but when it comes to bringing in part-timers, I don't believe it until I see it.
I feel like we've been hearing that rumor about every WrestleMania for the last, like, 2 or 3 years.
I was going to say 3 years, yeah, because it feels about the same time to me, too. And honestly, Drew to SmackDown makes the most sense because he can't get a shot at Lashley as long as Lashley's champion.
Yeah.
So, and with the way they've booked Lashley, he's going to hold on to that title into the draft. There's no fucking doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like Kevin. Like they brought Kevin back to Raw and Kevin was the one to take the title off Bobby. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Actually, that'd be low-key perfect because I feel like the knee injury that Kevin suffered a few years ago, wasn't that in a Bobby Lashley match?
I don't know.
I think it was. I think he injured himself wrestling Bobby because that was when Bobby, I think, was still doing the Leo Rush stuff. And the Bobby, and he was kind of like modeling and like showing off his ass. And that's when KO.
Oh yeah, with Leo Rush as his manager.
Yeah.
Hit him with the pose, Bobby.
Super Pony's actually corroborating my memory. Yeah, I thought I remembered it correctly. Yeah, it was a freaking Bobby Lashley match. And if they'd want to run that back, I mean, if WWE wouldn't, you know, Kevin Owens probably wouldn't a promo. Because I think he's just so good for that kind of stuff. Yeah, man, I can see it. I honestly could really see it. Yeah, I think the SmackDown scene again with Big E, Demon Balor, Brock Lesnar. You can always insert Edge back into the mix when the stuff with Seth resolves. I don't know who else you could do this. I mean, Cesaro, if you wanted to build him up again, I guess. Shinsuke is right there if you wanted to build him
Nakamura
up.
is the one that hasn't been done that should have been done by now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we've seen Cesaro Roman already. We've seen Owens Roman already. I feel like all the baby faces on SmackDown, other than Nakamura, we've seen get a shot at Roman and fail.
And yet Nakamura was legitimately screwed by Reigns all those months ago in that freaking gauntlet match that he had Adam Pearce win.
Back in January.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leading up to the Rumble.
So, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of possibility here. So, yeah, I'm pretty jazzed about the main event scene, like I said at the start of the show, and this whole back and forth definitely, consolidated those feelings. So let's move on to our next segment, high spots and low shots. I'm going to say my low shot's Kevin Owens. Got taken out by freaking Happy Corbin, and him and Logan Paul laughed at him. That does not sit right with me. So Kevin Owens is my low shot. Who's your low shot?
I'm going to take such a delight in saying that my low shot is Dominic Mysterio.
That laugh was one of my favorite parts of this whole thing. It was worth it. It was worth getting Dominic on my TV just to hear you laugh at him like that. Because god damn, if that laugh isn't, you ain't shit.
He really ain't, though.
I'm going to say my... okay, you know what? When I'm torn, that's why we have honorary high spots, right? So honorary high spot for Seth Rollins, because he was really committed to ruining a life tonight, and he almost succeeded. And even though he didn't succeed in that front, and even though he did lose the match by DQ, it wasn't about the match. It was about sending a message. And he got in Edge's head. So, good stuff there. Honorary high spot.
Is he living there rent-free yet?
I think so, man. I think so.
Wow.
My actual high spot, what do I want to go with? I think I'll go with, really looking at this show, a lot of the people, you know what? I'll go with freaking Sami Zayn. Fuck it. I love Sami Zayn. He kicked off Dominic Mysterio's face, and I am just waiting for Dominic to turn on his father. And I think Sami kind of just gave him that little push forward. So thank you, Sami, for liberating us from monotonous fucking television by just being you. Get more mic time, though. We need it. Who's your high spot?
That sentiment. My high spot's Bianca Belair for cutting the promo of her career and getting a hostile crowd to side with her. It was great to see, and I'm very proud of her. And we also got it confirmed tonight that she will get her entitled SmackDown Women's Championship opportunity at Extreme Rules. And we're getting that contract signing then next Friday.
Absolutely. It's great stuff. Bianca really is in a rhythm right now. Hope she regains the title soon. Kind of doubt it, but we'll cover that more probably next week in our SmackDown review in Madison Square Garden. In the meantime, though, folks, that was Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, let's go. Outro. 2 minutes. Let's fucking do this. Let's get out of here.
The best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my coordinator and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to like the video. You should file out. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for Friday Night SmackDown reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. So please leave that like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you never again miss any of that TWitWoW goodness. Check out everything we're involved in the description box, including the TWitWoW Patreon and everything that we offer. Most importantly, additional Q&A questions for $1 a month. Q&A will be September 30th this month. Non-Patreon owners only get 3 Q&A questions. If you donate $1, it goes up to 5 total Q&A questions. I would just donate $3, get you access to the TWitWoW Discord. Great group, great server, and you also get your additional Q&A questions, and that would just be for $3 a month. Be sure to follow us both on Twitter. I'm at John_TwitWoW. My pinned tweet is to collect Q&A questions. The 2 best places to submit Q&A questions are my pinned tweet and the Q&A channel on our Discord. Again, $3 a month. So get those questions in. Again, September 30th, 7 p.m. is the deadline. Follow Ashton on Twitter at Ashton_TwitWoW. He has the TWitWoW schedule for the month. And I feel like today and really this weekend were the last few days covered on the schedule. Have you put the new one up yet, friend?
No, I haven't, but Sunday we will be going live. I believe we agreed at 4 p.m. Eastern Time to live react to select matches from the 2 days of Wrestle Grand Slam happening over the weekend.
Yes, we will. So you guys can see us 4 p.m. at Sunday for some New Japan content. I hope that it's good. So we'll have to see. And until then, guys, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Tune in. Peace out.